They never said his name to the world at Crawford Hills Academy. He was just the maid's boy. 11-year-old Stephen Johnson had grown used to being invisible or worse, used as furniture for other people's comfort. His mother, Clarice, had been the Crawfords' maid since before he was born, and when she cleaned their big white mansion, she sometimes had to bring Stephen along before school opened. He'd sit on the cold bench in the back hallway near the kitchen, watching the world that was never meant for him. He wasn't a student at Crawford Hills, not officially. Clarice couldn't afford the tuition. But during rehearsal season, the school allowed her to bring Stephen with her when she worked late. He was supposed to stay out of the way. And he did until one day. Stephen was chubby, with soft cheeks and warm eyes, too old for his age. His shoes were second-hand, his jeans a little too short, and his confidence non-existent. He loved 3 things: drawing in the margins of napkins, eating honey on toast, and dancing in secret. At home, when the TV was off and Mama was asleep, he'd push the couch aside, wear his earbuds and mimic moves he saw on videos, not TikTok dances, real ones, hip-hop, locking, isolations, Michael Jackson spins. Dancing made him feel like his body didn't weigh him down, like the world couldn't touch him. But that wasn't something you showed rich white kids, especially not the ones at Crawford Hills. So he stayed quiet until the day of the dance auditions. Ms. Penelope, the drama teacher, was auditioning students for the big spring showcase. It was tradition, 1 act from each grade, and a grand finale performed by the top 10 students. Stephen watched from the back, as always, sitting cross-legged behind the curtain. Blake Crawford, the headmaster's son, was center stage. Tall, blonde, quarterback energy oozing from his smirk. His group fumbled through a poorly rehearsed routine, all limbs and no rhythm, but everyone clapped out because money claps for itself when they finished. Blake noticed Stephen in the corner. "Hey," he called, pointing. "Maid boy, why don't you show us what you've got?" The room exploded with laughter. Ms. Penelope froze. "That's inappropriate." "No, really," Blake said. "Let's see him dance. Might be funnier than our act." Stephen's stomach twisted, but then a whisper from his mind: "One day they'll know who you really are." His mother's voice echoed. He stood. The room got quiet. Miss Penelope turned to him. "Stefan, you don't have to, I know," he said softly. "I want to." They expected a joke. They got history. Stefan walked to the middle of the stage. The lights flickered. Blake snorted. "Play track 12, Stefan said. Ms. Penelope hesitated. She'd seen him doodling moves during rehearsals, but dance, this was bold. She pressed play. The beat dropped, slow, deep, a soul-funk rhythm layered with jazz. Something only an old-school dancer would dare to interpret. And Stefan moved. His foot slid across the floor with perfect control. His chest popped to the rhythm with surgical precision. He isolated his limbs with such mastery, it looked like his bones danced independently of each other. He glided, froze, popped, sank, spun. Not once did he smile, because this wasn't fun. This was war. The room was dead silent. No one clapped. Number 1 laughed. They stared. When he hit his final poser. Knee drop, followed by a slow rise into a salute. The beat faded out. Then it happened. Applause. Thunderous. Even Ms. Penelope wiped a tear. By the next morning, Stephen's performance had gone viral. Someone had uploaded a clip with the caption, "Greater than they mocked the maid's son, until he stole the stage." Millions viewed it within 48 hours. Stephen didn't know what viral meant. All he knew was that people looked at him differently now, but not all the looks were kind. Blake and his crew weren't laughing anymore, but they were watching closely in hate. When it boils over, Stephen was officially added to the final showcase lineup. Not as a joke, as the closing act. The grand finale. The school board, even the mayor, was attending. It was everything Stephen never dreamed he could have, so of course, they had to try and ruin it. 2 days before the performance, Blake snuck into the AV room, deleted music track, replaced it with a static-laced mess. "Let's see him moonwalk to that," he snickered. Showcase night. Clarice sat front row, wearing a dress she hadn't worn since Stefan was baptized. Her hands trembled. She didn't know what was coming, only that her son was meant for something bigger. Stephen waited backstage. He whispered to himself, "You've danced in the dark before. You don't need their light." Miss Penelope gave him a nervous thumbs up. The announcer stepped up, and now, the performance we've all been waiting for. Stephen Johnson. Applause. Curtains opened. Stephen stepped into the light. The beat started. Static, glitching, broken noise. He froze. The crowd murmured. Blake laughed from the wings. "Poor kid," someone whispered. "He's gonna walk off." Stephen didn't move. He clapped once. Then again, rhythmic, controlled, and he began to dance to his own beat. Footsteps became drums, breathing became bass. His heart, the melody. It wasn't just dancing, it was testimony. His body told every story no one ever asked to hear. When he spun for the last time and dropped into a split, the entire auditorium stood up. Clarice screamed. Ms. Penelope sobbed, and Blake, he disappeared into the shadows. Next day, Stephen's video hit 20 million views. By Friday, he'd been invited to perform on The Ellen Show. Nike called. So did Juilliard and the Crawfords. They offered to pay for his full tuition. Clarice refused. "He's not charity, he's legacy." At his graduation years later, Stefan was invited to speak. He walked up, calm and quiet as ever, took the mic, looked at the next generation of overlooked, overweight, underestimated kids, and said, greater than they tried to laugh me off of that stage, but when you dance like the world has shut its ears, you make them open their eyes. The Maid's son was no longer a shadow, he became the spotlight. And now we ask you, what would you do if the world laughed at your pain? Would you walk away or turn it into power? If this story touched your heart, don't forget to comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more true-to-life stories that inspire, challenge, and remind us, talent has no color, strength has no size, and greatness, sometimes it wears second-hand shoes.